Alright guys, it's banner review for Snowrealm Preregrination. 5 ships available as of right now. Really quick rundown. None of that 6 or 7 stuff like collabs. So let's get right into it. So the first ship is going to be, of course, the banner girl. Sovetsky Soyuz here. The ultra rare battleship for this banner. Now, starting off, we have the 120 stats. It's going to be 9,981 for health, 452 firepower, 0 torpedo, 0 aviation, 252 anti-air, 164 reload, 35 on the evasion, heavy armor, and it's going to be 28 speed, 62 hit, 50 luck, 0 ASW, and 17 on the oil cost. Alright, so I'm going to tell you guys right now, it's packing power. That's a lot of HP. Thank God we have some 10,000 HP ships, because I think the last few ultra rare battleships, aside from Musashi, have been like a little bit below 10k threshold, which I hate because it just bothers me. Like, I want to see that 10,000 HP mark. So it's nice to see that again. So that's very good. Also, loving the art right here. It's big improvement since they shown her like 2 years ago or whatever. Big improvement, especially this background right here. I actually like this a lot. It's actually really good. I love it, this background right here. But stat wise though, I think reload is a little bit, so me, I tested her a little bit, and I know I didn't max out one of her skills to give her reload, but she has a little bit slower reload compared to most battleships, but it's fine because she has a really powerful barrage that can really benefit going last. So definitely not the worst, but it's really good stats though across the board. Very solid for the ultra rare battleship. Now for the gear efficiencies, we have 150 for the BB gun, 200 for the auxiliary light cruiser guns, and 120 on the anti-air. Very good. All you care about is really the main first one, is 150. So this being 150 means that we're packing a lot of firepower, a lot of damage. Very good. Very nice. And at 120, we have +1 permanent firepower. Always very nice to see one of those things, and not like HP or something. And now, let's talk about the skills. So the first one is going to be Sublimation to Sunder's All Storm. Jeez, these names are getting long now for skills. When this ship finishes loading her main guns, 100% chance to fire a special barrage. It's going to be like a little ice glacier or whatever. Inflicts the following effects for 6 seconds to enemies hit by this barrage. Decrease speed by 40%. Increase damage taken by 8%. And when Sovetsky Soyuz attacks, increase her crit rate by 10%. So this 10% is kind of lacking right here, I'm not going to lie, but she gets another one later on as well too. So it's 20% total, which is not bad. It's just, honestly, if it was a little bit higher, she'd be like really broken. So I can't really complain about that. So we'll take the 10%. We'll take 10%. But skills though. So she gets a very interesting barrage. It's like an ice glacier. And the moment her bar fills up on the right corner, or wherever you guys have the little action bar, it pops up randomly on the field on one target. So this scenario is really good, and it's really bad too. So it's good in the sense that if you're doing boss content, the glacier is guaranteed to hit on basically whoever is on the field. It's going to spawn under them. It's going to pop instantly. And it's going to do big damage. Now, this is good for bossing, but for mobbing, it's a little bit weird. So when it comes to mobbing, if there's like more than 2 enemies on the field, it will randomly pick one of them, usually the closest one towards Soyuz, and it's going to ice prison them. So if you have a scenario where, say, you have one ship near the top, one near a ship at the bottom, it's going to prioritize the one closer to Soyuz, which is, let's say, is the top one, and then the bottom one just doesn't get hit at all because there's a certain radius of that glacier. And once it goes off, it's going to hit that target right there and then. So it's good in fights where either they're very clustered together, like really close together, or they're good in scenarios where it's boss content because it's guaranteed to hit that on a single target. But for like spread out enemies or whatever, you don't get that much value from this barrage. Now for the effects though, 40% speed decrease, very nice to have. Nowadays, speed decrease is okay. This makes it a little bit accurate for, let's say, airstrikes, a little bit for volleys, and it's going to help out your destroyers or your vanguards do torpedo damage as well too. So it's a little bit beneficial, but for the most part though, it's just nice to have speed reduction. Not like a crazy game changer, it's nice to have. Now we have a damage amplifier. Increased damage taken by 8% for, I think there's like 6 seconds or something. Yes, so 6 seconds. So it's a small interval, but again, if you're running like a really like the modern day battleship setup, there's going to be a lot of uptime for these effects going off, like say Vanguard, and then we run Soyuz. You're going to have a lot of scenarios where there's a lot of damage increase available on the field, so your vanguards and even your backline ships as well too can take advantage of that amplifier. So it's actually a really good skill to have. And having this, you kind of want to have her go second ideally, because you want Vanguard to go first. But that's difficult because unless you're using like say Musashi, a lot of the other battleships like New Jersey, Ulrich, and even Bismarck too is going to outspeed her because she's kind of on the slower end compared to most ultra rare battleships on the reload section. So yeah. Anyways though, this barrage is really good. Combos very well with Bismarck 2 because Bismarck 2 brings in the enemies together, and if she goes third, basically guarantees a hit on every single enemy within that circle because they're clustered together. It's going to be a lot of damage. So how this barrage works is 2 ticks. The moment your bar hits full, it goes off once, and then it goes off again like 0.1 second later. It's a 2-tick interval damage, and it's really heavy hitting too. I remember one time I saw it hit for like 20k, 25k. So you can't expect to see like big numbers. I'm not expecting like like Musashi numbers. It's like a little bit weaker compared to Musashi's barrage, but it's very fast. It hits twice, and it's very strong. It's like a very good barrage. Like this is one of the better barrages we got in game because it's very accurate. You have Musashi, who just relies on enemies being near the middle to hit. You have New Jersey, who sometimes whiffs her barrage entirely because even though it hits for basically superior damage every single time, there's a small hitbox in which that barrage will do maximum damage, and you won't get much value out of that. Bismarck 2 is a good example of a good barrage because it's guaranteed to do damage because you're pulling in the enemies into a circle. And then Soyuz barrage is very good because it's guaranteed to hit because it spawns under the enemy the moment the bar fills up. It's guaranteed to hit unless it says miss on your screen. Then there goes 0 damage or whatever. Or it doesn't proc your barrage because you're not level 10 or whatever. But this skill leaves for a lot of synergy, and it's a very good skill. I like it a lot. It's one of the best skills we got in the game as of right now. Absolutely disgusting. Very powerful. Strong first skill indeed. The second skill here we have is Irradiance to Extol Solidarity Glory. Oh my god, man, these names. When the battle starts, increase your Northern Parliament ships' firepower, torpedo, and aviation by 15%. Alright, so basically all Russian ships get buffed here, including herself. 15% firepower. Big numbers. We like it a lot. While this ship is afloat and there are 2 carriers in your main fleet, increases your main fleet's accuracy by 10% and your carrier's damage taken or damage dealt, by 10%. If there are 2 or more battleships in your main fleet, also aviation battleships as well too, increases the ship's crit rate, reload, and damage dealt by 10%. So this gives you option on how you want to build, and it gives you basically a flexibility for how you want to build for boss fleet or whatever. So if you do carriers, you're given accuracy and giving damage for the carriers. So it's kind of like a mini Nagato in a sense. This is very good for the furry carriers, Shinano and Hakuryu, because accuracy and damage dealt. And then you have the whole Shinano debuff with the Hakuryu buff as well too. And then you toss on Soyuz, which also amplifies damage as well too. All your backline ships at that point, you're running a Soyuz, Hakuryu, and Shinano setup, it buffs damage. So at best, you have a 12% on top of 8% on top of a capped out 9% debuff. That's a lot of damage amplifiers to increase your damage overall. It's actually very, very good to do this. Now, the issue with doing carriers is that you lose the reload. And reload is a very, very big skill for her because she has none of that as of right now. If you guys haven't figured it out by now, a lot of the game has shifted away from Helena because of how the Vanguard, like how challenge mode set up for EX mode a little bit as well too. More DPS Vanguards are meta because of how the boss are designed nowadays. Helena is still usable, but you don't need her as much anymore. And without Helena, that means all that reload, like mixing and matching to find the best possible combination of making Helena work, is out the window. You just go full DPS now. And the best DPS gun is right now for people that wants to focus on barrages is going to be the 457. So that's going to be a really, really good gun for her. But she needs to reload as well too to get a little bit in between the speed of the carriers. But I think she should be okay if she uses the 457 for speed. But she does buff up Hakuri and Shino by a lot. That's going to be a very, very powerful fleet. So double carriers actually accessible for them. Now, if you run the USS, it's a little bit weird because if you run Yorktown 2 and Kearsarge with Soyuz, it's kind of weird because Kearsarge can't buff Soyuz, but Soyuz can buff the other two. Now, I guess this could work, but I think you're better off bringing like Implacable because Implacable gets buffed by Kearsarge. No, not Kearsarge. Kearsarge. No. Okay, if you bring Kazuguma, she gets buffed by Kazuguma. Now, she buffs the fleet by lowering their evasion, so it makes you more accurate. So I guess someone could try out Kearsarge Yorktown 2 and Soyuz. I don't think it's gonna be that well, but you can definitely try it out. Definitely. But mainly you want to use her in a triple BB setup IMO because you get crit rate, you get reload, and you get damage dealt by 10%. It is very, very powerful. This is a lot of buffs right here. So ideally, you want to run her in triple battleships and not in 2 carriers. Much, much beneficial that way. And then the last skill, Adamantine, the walls of forts. Impregnable. God, I love that word, impregnable. When there are other Northern Parliament ships in your fleet, decrease your Northern Parliament ship's burn damage taken by 15% during a sortie when another fleet is battling. So basically another fleet that's not this one. 18 seconds after the battle, fleet starts, fires a special supporting barrage. I assume it's a glacier again. Decrease the crit rate of torpedoes hitting the ships by 20%. Decrease their damage taken by 10%. So it's a little bit of a I guess this is like a world 14 and 15 as a side fleet because torpedoes is a pain in those maps. So I guess there's like a little supporting buff for chapter 14 and 15 because those things hurt. So if you have a little bit of a damage reduction, it's actually really, really good for campaign. Like I think a lot of people said this skill is really, really bad and like useless on her. I think it's really, really good because this is not faction restrictive. This is just having her in another fleet and reducing the crit rate of torpedoes and damage reduction by 10%. Like you don't even want to do anything. Like I think most people don't stack damage reduction in their fleets, so having this right here 10% is really, really big. It's actually really good skill right here. It may not be good for bossing, but it's good for like OS, chapter 14, 15. It's actually a really, really good skill. So I actually like this a lot. But yeah, anyways, 3 skills. That is Soyuz. There's a lot of ways to build her. I'm excited to try her out multiple times, but this ship is absolutely disgusting. Like, if you guys thought Bismarck 2 was good, this ship is on par with her. Absolutely, like, neck to neck. This ship is disgusting. Like, I know a lot of people were waiting like 2-3 years for Soyuz to finally get released, and she finally got released. It was worth the wait. I'll say that. This ship is powerful. This ship is absolutely monstrous. I don't know what else to think of. Like there's no bad thing about this kid. I think the worst thing to say about her is that she's a little bit too slow. Like she needs a little bit more reload. Aside from that though, this ship is like, it's strong, has great utility. Like what else do you need? Like it's so good. Like she does so much for the team. Damage amplifiers, good self buffs, buffs pretty much every setup, carriers or battleships. It's so or it benefits in both those setups. And then you have a damage reduction that no other ship has it right now that gives to basically every other fleet. So good. Disgusting ship. I'm gonna showcase her way more. This is a really good ship. Also, by the way, I want to point out that right, this is something I talk about as well too. Musashi. Yeah. So I think it was like 2 weeks ago or something. I said that Soyuz was going to replace Musashi. Now I'll make a video about this, but as of right now, I'm really enjoying the Vanguard, Bismarck II, and Soyuz setup for battleships. Now, all you Musashi enjoyers, it's not the end of the world for her. You can still use her, but I think that setup as of right now is a little bit better than the old school Musashi, Bismarck II, and Vanguard setup. We'll test that out later. So yeah, I just want to point that out. To that 2 weeks ago. Don't doubt me. All right. really good battleship. Right. So that's Soyuz. Let's go into the other ships as well too. I'm probably gonna butcher this name. I'm gonna say Ognevoy. I'm gonna say Ognevoy if for short. If I butcher it, I'm sorry. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it or whatever. Yeah. So we got 120 stats, 2,350 health, 150 firepower, 245 on torpedoes, 0 aviation, 183 anti-air, 206 reload, 217 on the evasion, light armor, 43 speed, 201 hit, 79 luck, 208 ASW, and 10 on the oil cost. So across the board, very mixed stats. A little bit low for the torpedo stats for destroyers, but she's heavy focus on firepower, so that's the trade-off right there. In terms of gear efficiency, we have 160 on a DD gun, 125 on torpedoes, and 110 on the anti-air. So yeah, more focused on firepower, main gun focus, all that jazz. 2 health for destroyers at 120, very nice, so we'll take that. And now for her skills. The strength of gentle sunlight increases ship's firepower by 15%. While this ship is afloat, every 10 seconds, every ship in your Vanguard recovers 1% of their max HP. The first time this recovery effect activates also increases the ship's damage dealt by 12% until the end of the battle. So, I think at best you'll probably get like 20-30 seconds of value from this. So let's say 2 to 3% max HP per fight. Let's say a sortie, you're doing like 7 sorties or whatever. You're probably getting around 14 to 21% health that whole time. It's actually pretty good. If you combine that with like Unicorn, Aquila, Perseus, or whatever, like that adds up. That's really good value. And I could definitely see this being like really good for ships like, or scenarios like campaign, like chapter 14, 15 even a little bit. But definitely 14 though. OS, I'm not sure about OS because OS fights end really fast. So at best, you'll probably proc this once, but for 1% of their HP. So it's not too terrible in OS, but you're better off in campaign because campaign fights are much longer compared to OS fights. Now the second skill here, when the battle starts, or firepower overload, sorry. When the battle starts, if there is another Northern Parliament ship in your fleet, gains the max firepower, or gains the buff max firepower every 20 seconds, 60% chance to increase the ship's firepower. Alright, well, we got 60%. But for 40% firepower, that's disgusting right here. That's actually a big increase. But a 60% chance, though. That's a lot of firepower for a destroyer. That's a lot. Every 10 seconds, 70% chance to fire a special barrage. If the barrage sinks an enemy ship, fires the barrage again up to 2 activations possible within 5 seconds, starting at level 10. So this is kind of like a snowball move. Like basically every 20 seconds, if she pops this skill right here, she gets a massive firepower increase. And then she's going to fire a barrage every 10 seconds. If it kills something, it goes again. So if every 20 seconds, if she has this on, she's basically gonna kill one ship that's very very low, and then she fires it again. That's a really good snowballing move. That's a really good wave clearing skill right here. That's actually pretty well done, aside from the RNG fact. But you gotta add some kind of RNG to combat, right? But this is a very good snowballing skill. I like it a lot. It's very well done. I just gotta see how the barrage looks like though. I haven't looked at it yet, but can definitely see this being very very good for just mob clearing. So very good for say low HP mobs. I think chapter 14 has some low level or low HP health mobs that are light armor or whatever. So you can definitely abuse this there. Very very good there for chapter 14. And allow assault. Allow assault with a 50% chance to increase the ship's firepower by 20% for 10 seconds. So you have 60% firepower stacked up. Okay, that's a lot. Okay, this ship is actually okay. This is okay. So this tells me. So this ship Ognevoy basically tells me Manju wants everyone out of chapter 14 and into chapter 15. Like this ship right here is basically your way out of chapter 14. If any of you guys are struggling in chapter 14 right now, this ship is gonna carry you. Like up until now, we've been getting a lot of DDs or whatever that are going to chapter 14. This ship right here. This ship heals your whole fleet. You get crazy firepower and a damage increase as well too. Like this ship right here is going to carry you out of chapter 14. Toss this into your mob fleet and she'll just steamroll everything. Absolute disgusting ship for chapter 14. Basically says, look at my eyes. Look at these eyes right here. Right? I'm going to carry you out of chapter 14. That's what these eyes are telling me as of right now. Like this ship right here is absolutely disgusting. So very good for campaign. If you guys want easy chapter 14 way out, Musashi, her, boom, done. But you're going to need a Northern Parliament ship, I think, for the buff or whatever. Yeah. So you want to have the Northern Parliament ship, toss in Soyuz or something in the mob fleet, and boom, there you go. This ship is disgusting. Oh my god! This easy way your way out of chapter 14. So easy, dude. And next ship we have is gonna be Pamiat Meta, the meta ship for this event. Stats at 120, we have 3,524 health, 140 firepower, 193 on torpedo, 214 on anti-air, 144 on reload, 104 on the evasion, medium armor, 23 speed, 148 on the hit, 88 luck, 57 ASW, and 12 on the oil cost. So across the board, very similar to the counterpart, I believe. Yeah, relatively the same, but a meta version of it. So, ooh, different. The gear efficiency, we have 135 on DD gun, 130 on torpedoes, and 90 on the anti-air. So pretty low, and I need to double check this. I didn't know she cannot use light cruiser guns. Okay, no, she can use it. But once she's retrofitted, she can only use DD guns. Or I guess both? This one's only DD guns. That's interesting. So 120, we got one hit for light cruisers. That's going to be a buff for Plymouth right there. And then the skills are as followed. Shattered solidarity. Jesus, man. I was going to say solidarity, but I mean, that works out. Whatever. Hard to speak English these days. Every 12 times this ship fires her main guns, fires a level 10 special barrage, increase the ship's damage dealt up to 20% the lower her current HP is. Yeah, I don't like this skill because any ships that requires you to play at low HP is really, really bad in higher content because there's that random chance that you just get insta-kill and then you just sink and lose all your buffs. So playing at low HP is actually really, really skeptical. Not a big fan of it. I'm not a big fan of it. Low HP gameplay at all. Undying Light of the Imperia. When this ship takes damage, 15% chance to gain the buff Glory of the Past for 10 seconds. While under this buff, increase this ship's firepower torpedo by 20%, and this ship evades all attacks. But that's a 15% proc rate. But if you proc it, though, it's actually really good. But it's not bad, but it's a very low proc rate. But you take a lot of damage though regardless, so I guess that's alright. But I'm not. It's supposed to help make the first skill easier, but I'm not a big fan of it. Third skill, intertwining memories. Increases its firepower and accuracy by 10%. Every 20 seconds for 10 seconds, decrease the speed of all enemies within 55 units of this ship by 20%. So 55 units, I think that's like very close. I don't know how to explain it, but like if I were to like explain a gameplay, probably like this is from like here to here. Like if you look at if this is your like resolution or whatever, let's say this box right here is your resolution, right? Like this gameplay right here, it's probably gonna be like right here to here, something like that. I think roughly around there. So you decrease enemies within that area for 20%. I guess that's all right. There's a lot of slows in this banner, but or there's 2 right now, but I mean it's all right. The damage buff helps out a lot, but the slow is like whatever. And then flickering light, Pamiat, Merkuria. Every 8 times the ship fires from main guns, fires special barrage if the ship has the glory of the pass buff, it improves its barrage. Okay. And then OS, she gets a increase to Siren Fleets or Boss Fleets by 5% damage. So this ship wants to play at low HP, a little bit of a slow debuff, some buffs as well too. It's alright. You probably won't get much value out of it if you play high HP though, but if you want to suicide her, I guess that's fine, but I'm not a big fan of this skill. Not a big fan of playing on low HP, so I'm going to say that's like a, if you want to use her, go for it. Just remember it's a meta ship, so you cannot get rid of her no matter what. So good luck, guys. Poltava. So again, these are elite ships. I don't want to talk too much about them. I know as of right now that Poltava has 1 firepower, so this ship is actually it's really, really good because 1 firepower is beautiful. We love that. And then her skills are okay, I guess. Firepower increase, main guns hit enemy, decrease speed. Another speed debuff, and increase your Ganga BB by 12%. Ganga is actually pretty good. I used it for a bit in one of the showcase I did a while back for Northern Parliament. I actually took some MVPs for a while, so not too bad of a ship. During this ship's flow, increase your Northern Parliament ship evasion, decrease all other burn damage taken by 15%. So this is supposed to help Pamiat, I think, but I don't know if she counts as a Northern Parliament ship. No, she doesn't. So yeah, unlucky. This doesn't really help Pamiat, so it's basically helping out your DD Ogne. So not a bad skill, but I probably want to use her with Ogne. Though there's healers or whatever that's much better for that. And then Svirepy, I'm butchering that name. I don't even care anymore. Stats are similar to Ogne, I guess. A little lower in the firepower, whatever. 160 on a main gun as well too. Maybe she's just like Ogne. Let's find out. 60% chance to fire special barrage while enemies hit by this barrage. Decrease their accuracy by 15%. And increases damage taken from this ship by 10%. Alright, so look at a self buff as well as accuracy decrease. Increases anti-air by 15%. Okay. After the ship fires with main guns for 15 times. For 5 seconds, decrease the ship's speed by 3. Once its effect ends, decrease the ship's damage taken by 10% until the end of the battle. Alright. This is let's say it pops off like every 20 to 25 seconds. It's kind of long though. Yeah, you probably won't get much value out of this if you're in speed battles or whatever. So it's alright, I guess. Alright, whatever. So anyways, that's the banner. Let's go over the priorities here as usual. I said this once, guys. I'll say it again. The Soyuz is an unbelievable ship. If you guys thought like Musashi, New Jersey, Ulrich Order was great up until now, this ship right here takes it to a whole new level. This ship is on par with Bismarck too. This ship is disgusting, powerful, does a lot of things. If you guys don't pull for her, you're going to be crying like a month later being like, oh, Kimo, I don't have Soyuz, whatever, run now or whatever. Pull this ship. I don't care if you have to pity her. If you have to like take out a bank loan or something, pull this ship. Because not having her right now is going to suck. Because she's very, very good. She's on par with Bismarck 2 in damage. Utility just as good as well too, if not even better. A disgusting ship. Highest priority is right here. Now, the other stuff that's nice to have as well too is going to be Ognevoy, a great DD to have for chapters 14, maybe 15 as well too. Your get out of jail free card for chapter 14 is going to be Ognevoy, very very nice to have. And Poltava is nice as well too because guess what, guys? Permanent one firepower for battleships. We like those. We take those. Always nice to have for those ships. Make sure you get her as well too. And then Pamiat. So I don't like this kit at all. I think it's really really jank. There's also the fact that it's a meta ship, so a lot of people are free to play and are very limited on dock space. You have to be very careful about farming this event because if you guys don't want that one dock space by Pamiat, she's gonna take it up and you're gonna lose that one dock space forever. So you have to be very very careful. She's not a priority. She's not a really good ship, but for collection though, if you want to have her, definitely go ahead and take her. And then Svirepy, I think she's like a free ship from the event or whatever, so she's not the best, but we'd take it. If you guys want to have her, just take it. So yeah. So I'll say it once again. Soyuz is important, and I'll also say again as well too. I'm 40 subs away from 30,000 subs on YouTube, guys. Sub to my channel, get me to 30K. I'll appreciate it very very much, and so is Soyuz as well too. All right. So thank you guys for watching as always, and I'll see you guys in the next video.